Erin Pedersen is the KSA Sustainability Coordinator. Natania Castillo will now ask her about her experience at KPU. When did you join the KPU community and why?
Well, I first joined the KPU community as a student. So in summer 2015, I did an upgrading course in chemistry. And my goal with that was to eventually complete the Environmental Protection Technology diploma, which I did. I finished that in 2018. And then during my last semester in the diploma program, I was hired by the Kwantlen Student Association in this role as the sustainability coordinator. And I've been there ever since.
What is your favorite story of your time at KPU?
Yeah, this question was hard, but I think my favorite story is one that starts at KPU and then finishes out in the community. So back in 2019, I was doing, I organized a sustainability fair called Eco Days, which we do every year, except for last year because of the pandemic. And I was at Langley campus, and one of the librarians, who is now my good friend, came up to me and asked if the KSA was organizing any climate strikes. So this was around the time of Greta Thunberg and all of the big youth climate strikes. So my answer to her was no, but we probably should. So since then, Allison, the librarian, and I have co-founded a community climate action group called Surrey for Future. And with Surrey for Future, we organize several climate strikes, banner drops, other actions. And we also campaigned for the city of Surrey to declare a climate emergency, which they did in November of 2019. So while the story started at KPU, it kind of moved out into the community, and I think that's why it's my favorite. I think it's important that a university connects with a community that it's part of, and I really appreciate all the connections I've been able to make at KPU and the support that I've had from the KSA for working on climate initiatives through my job as well.
What's something you'd like to say to people new to the community?
Well, first of all, welcome. I don't know yet what fall 2021 is going to look like. I think the usual advice that people give in this situation is to get involved with various clubs, groups, organizations, communities on campus. And that's good advice, but as someone who was quite recently a student, I know that students don't always have the time for that, right? Like most students are working at the same time. You might be working full-time and studying full-time, right? So in that case, you have no time to get involved, and I totally understand that. So if that's your situation, I would say, at least take the time to figure out the benefits available to you, either through KPU, so things like career services or the fitness centers, or through the KSA as well. So the KSA is actually separate from KPU. We have a separate website, and we are a separate organization legally. And we do things like the Student Food Bank. We offer various discounts. In partnership with KPU, we run the campus shuttle. So yeah, just take the time to learn about the different perks and benefits you can get. If you don't have time to get more involved, and if you do have time to get more involved, definitely try to do that because it's really worthwhile. And it creates a nice sense of community as opposed to just doing your online classes or commuting into the campuses.
What are you working on right now?
Yeah, there's a couple things that we're working on here. We are partnering with KPU to develop a volunteer sustainability ambassadors program for campus. So that program hopefully is going to look like teams of students working together on projects to advance sustainability on campus. We're hoping to launch that either this semester or fall semester or spring 2021. And we're currently working on developing the project ideas and figuring out how the program will run. So that's something to look forward to. And then on the KSA side, we're currently working on mapping the KSA's greenhouse gas emissions to figure out how we can reduce those. It's an interesting process to try to disentangle which emissions we are actually responsible for as opposed to KPU as a whole. So that's something we are passionate about. We hope to be carbon neutral as soon as possible, but it's a process as well.
What is something you would like people to know about you?
I don't know if there's anything people really need to know about me. I'm just an ordinary person who cares about the climate and likes to spend time outside. I do think one thing that I mentioned earlier that a lot of students maybe don't realize is that the KSA is separate from KPU. So we are a nonprofit, and our job is to advocate for students and represent the interests of students. And our board of directors is made up of students. So if you see those election posters around or on social media, those people that you elect, or maybe don't elect if you don't bother to vote, are the ones who are approving all of the events that we decide to put on, and they're the ones who are approving how we spend our budget and things. So it is, you might think, oh, well, like student council, like whatever, if you're coming from high school, they don't have a ton of power, but the KSA Student Council actually does have quite a bit of decision-making power, and it is quite an interesting opportunity for students to get involved with if you're interested in learning about how a board operates or how a nonprofit operates. So I would encourage students to learn a bit about student associations, about the KSA, and if you want to get involved, definitely run for election or at least vote in the elections. And we are working on making that easier as well, using various online tools so that you don't have to be on campus to vote. So yeah, that's not really about me, but it's something I think students should know.